He would have stole it. He pressed him though. Yeah.
Bro, when people, what I got from that is he's a hater. You don't know me as a person. Let's say you don't like me. Like, you don't know me. Like, you feel me? And I don't give a fuck. Him. And everybody in the crew with him. I mean, with him.
Same question for you.
You're a proud father.
It wasn't Canelo. It wasn't Spence. It wasn't even a top contender in the same weight class. Out of nowhere, Gervonta Tank Davis publicly ripped into Terence Bud Crawford, calling him a fool for even thinking about stepping into the ring with Canelo Alvarez. But that wasn't the jaw-dropper. What really sent shockwaves through the boxing world was why Tank thought Crawford was chasing the fight.
Tank stopping a lot of people. You know, probably felt like, man, we fought when we were some little kids.
Right.
Man, I'm about to knock you out.
According to Davis, it wasn't about legacy, pride, or proving he's the pound-for-pound king. No. Tank claims it's all about the money. He didn't just suggest it, he said it outright. Crawford needs the money. And just like that, what should have been a respectful difference of opinion exploded into a bitter war of words between two of boxing's biggest stars. And they're not even in the same division. So the question becomes, is this really about boxing? Or is it something deeper? Jealousy, ego, maybe even fear? Because when two elite fighters go for each other's throats this hard, this fast, there's usually more brewing beneath the surface. Is this the beginning of boxing's biggest civil war?
When people, what I got from that is he's a hater. You don't know me as a person. Let's say you don't like me. Like, you don't know me. Like, you feel me? And I don't give a him. And everybody in the crew with him. I mean, with him.
The moment Tank Davis threw shade at Crawford's ambitions, the gloves came off. In front of the cameras, he called Crawford's pursuit of Canelo foolish, dismissing it as a desperate move for a final cash grab. But it didn't stop there. Tank didn't just question Bud's motivation. He attacked his credibility, insinuating that the undefeated champion was padding his resume while dodging real danger. Then came the low blow. Tank brought up Crawford's ties to Snacy Nutrition, the supplement company run by none other than Victor Conte, the same man who was at the center of the infamous Balco performance-enhancing drug scandal in the early 2000s.
I need the money.
Crawford needs the money.
Yeah, he need the money.
You think he had a chance to win? But what makes you say that? You know, I mean,
He need the money. I'm telling you.
does he have a chance to win though?
Top Rank ain't paying like that, and they ain't playing no.
Without saying it outright, Tank strongly implied that Crawford's dominance might not be as natural as it seems. He referenced Crawford's nearly untouched record in recent years, noting that it's suspicious how a fighter can rise through weight classes, stay clean in the ring, and never get clipped. According to Tank, there's only one explanation, and it ain't just talent. Crawford wasn't about to let that slide. He clapped back with fire of his own, brushing off the financial accusations by stating the obvious. Boxing is a business. Of course, he's fighting for money. What elite athlete isn't? But where he drew the line was at Tank's character. In a brutal rebuttal, Bud made it clear he has no personal respect for Davis, branding him an arrogant little dude who hides behind his entourage and fame. He admitted flat out, "I just don't like him at all."
So you don't
see, they ain't paying like that.
He's going up three or four weight classes. You think the chances of him?
That's why he say why he don't like me. That's the real shit.
Going up those weight classes to face some, you know, how can you convince fans that he can beat Canelo?
I ain't trying to convince y'all that he can beat Canelo. He's a good fighter.
The tension between them is no longer hypothetical. It's personal. This isn't just trash talk for hype. It's disdain. It's ego. It's a brewing storm between two undefeated champions from different weight classes who might just hate each other more than the opponents in front of them. But that's just the surface. Things got even more heated. Just as the fire between Tank Davis and Terence Crawford started to blaze, the heavyweight voices of boxing stepped in. And suddenly, this wasn't just a grudge match between two fighters. It became a full-blown battleground of opinions from the sport's most powerful insiders.
Weight class 68, yeah, but you're coming up from 35. 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like, he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo Alvarez. Yeah. But you have to use your movement if you're Terence Crawford in that fight. The last thing you want to do is stand and trade. He'd be moving a lot in that fight, trust me. I'm not saying he'd be running, but he would be moving a lot.
Eddie Hearn, one of the most influential promoters in the game, didn't mince words. He praised Crawford as a generational genius, someone with the kind of ring IQ and raw skill that only comes around once in a lifetime. But when it came to the idea of Bud stepping up to fight Canelo Alvarez, Hearn hit the brakes. Hard. He's brilliant, Hearn said, but 168 is just too much. Hearn warned that despite Crawford's brilliance, there are physical limits even talent can't cheat. Sooner or later, he said, it's one too many weight classes, and 168 is definitely too many. And then Canelo himself responded, calmly but with the confidence of a man who's been here before. He acknowledged Crawford's talent. He even admitted he liked his style. But he also made it very clear this isn't a chess match, it's a fight. And in his weight class, Canelo believes Crawford wouldn't last. For me, it's an easy fight. Easy money, he said with a smirk.
Very good fighter. I like how he fight, but that's why there are weight classes.
Yeah.
And he knows now.
He knows now. You think he felt that?
Yeah.
The jab wasn't just about Crawford's skills, it was a brutal reminder that power, not precision, rules at the super middleweight level. Canelo added that Crawford's slick movement might work at 147, maybe even 154, but at 168, one punch could change everything. The lines were drawn, respect was given, but the challenge was made. Once Canelo and Hearn weighed in, the rest of the boxing world followed, and the takes were as divided as they were passionate.
Wow.
Friend, but it's crazy, man. Listen, I say Terence win. Yes.
What? Terence win over Canelo.
Yes, Terence win. But listen, Terence, different man. Terence work in two stойка.
Two sides.
Two sides.
Right.
Yeah,
And
right.
Switch hitter.
Yes,
He's a switch hitter.
Yes.
Right and left. But it's very smart man.
Alexander Usyk, the pound-for-pound tactician and heavyweight king, threw his full support behind Crawford, and not just politely. He called Bud a crazy man in that dangerous, unpredictable way. For Usyk, this wasn't a mismatch. It was the kind of fight where genius might just outsmart brute strength. He raved about Crawford's ability to fight ambidextrously, his ring IQ, his calm under pressure. Terence is different, he said. Very, very smart.
I think it's a good fight. I think, listen, everybody can do what they want to do, and if he believes in himself, then go for it. Why not? I think he's an awesome fighter. Both of them are. Both of them are exceptional fighters, and I would be one of the people paying for a pay-per-view to watch it.
Coming from a man who dismantled giants, that endorsement hit different. Then there was Tyson Fury, never one to stay silent, but also never easy to pin down. He praised both men, called them elite in their own right, and said the fight would be massive. He didn't pick a side, but he did say one thing loud and clear. He'd pay to watch it. From a heavyweight who knows a thing or two about fighting bigger men and shocking the world, that kind of curiosity speaks volumes.
I mean, it could happen. I mean, why not? If Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great. So what I'm saying, I'm with it. So I'll be going for Bud. If he fight Canelo, I'll be going for him. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna win or lose, but I definitely be going for Crawford, I think.
But perhaps the biggest surprise came from Errol Spence Jr. Yes, that's Spence, the man Crawford just dismantled in one of the most high-stakes rivalries in modern boxing. And yet, Spence, humbled and maybe even reflective, said he's riding with Bud if the fight happens. He didn't make a bold prediction, didn't talk trash, just gave the kind of endorsement that only a former rival can. If anyone knows how real Crawford's greatness is, it's Spence. Still, critics remained. Enter the Wade concept, who broke down the narrative that Crawford is too small for the move up. According to Wade, and Crawford himself, the size gap is being exaggerated. Crawford doesn't just survive in higher weight classes, he thrives. Wade even cited photos and weigh-ins suggesting Bud walks around close to 180 pounds in training, showing that his frame can absolutely handle the jump.
I was going to ask you about that. A lot of people making a big deal about the weight. You just walked in here. You don't look like a 54 right now. You're looking a little more solid these days. And I don't know if this was something I got trolled into on Twitter, but I saw you stepped on a scale at 180, around 180-ish.
Yeah.
So You're not having any trouble.
Crawford doubled down, calling out the groupthink around size. He pointed to recent examples like Usyk versus Fury, where the so-called smaller man not only held his own but dominated. People assume Canelo is bigger just because of his division, Crawford said, but 168 is a big weight class, even for him. The stage is set. Some believe in the upset, others say it's a death wish, but not everyone's convinced, and some think this might just be career suicide. With public pressure mounting and debate raging, Gervonta Tank Davis went for the jugular, not with respect, but with suspicion. He didn't just question whether Terence Crawford could hang with Canelo Alvarez at 168. He challenged the legitimacy of Crawford's entire dominance across multiple weight classes. According to Tank, something about Bud's recent performances just doesn't add up. How, he asked, can a fighter rise through 4 divisions, from 135 to 147 and beyond, stay undefeated, barely get hit, and never seem to slow down? Tank didn't buy it, and he didn't hesitate to throw shade in a way that set off alarm bells across the sport. He directly name-dropped Snaka Nutrition, the company run by Victor Conti, whose name is forever linked to one of boxing's darkest chapters, the Balco scandal, where top athletes were caught using undetectable performance enhancers. Davis didn't outright accuse Crawford of cheating, but his tone and choice of words left little room for interpretation. He said it bluntly, that snack I'm telling you, that guy, he's been caught before. He went to jail for it.
By Gambo, right? What the fuck he's looking this strong over the past year. I mean, these years. He ain't been getting clipped or nothing. So now, that's that snack shit. I'm telling you. Y'all laugh. I'm telling you. And that guy that a part of it, he been caught. He went to jail for it.
To Davis, Crawford's clean performances, his ability to absorb barely any punishment, his freakish strength at higher weights, his pinpoint accuracy weren't just impressive. They were unbelievable in the most literal sense. And Tank wasn't alone in feeling suspicious. He pointed to past fights like Bud's clash with Yuriorkis Gamboa, where Crawford did get caught and had to dig deep. That version of Crawford, Davis implied, was human, vulnerable, beatably great. But in recent years, Davis says that Crawford has looked too perfect, too untouched. And in boxing, when things look too good to be true, there's usually a reason. Was this just psychological warfare from Tank? Or is there something Crawford doesn't want us to see? Because in the sport where every inch is earned, even the appearance of an edge can turn admiration into accusation. While the drama off the ropes intensified, a new debate was bubbling inside the ring. Can Crawford actually beat Canelo? Or is this a suicide mission in disguise? To get an honest answer, you'd have to ask someone who's already done what Bud is trying to do. And that man is Dmitry Bivol. One of only 2 fighters to ever defeat Canelo Alvarez, Bivol knows firsthand what it takes to outbox the Mexican superstar. And according to him, Crawford might just have the tools to do it. But it comes with a warning. Bud has to be flawless.
Canelo, of course, he got used to this weight class more than Crawford. He need to get used to this power. Even he's big. Could beat him, he could stop him. It could happen anyhow, you know.
Bivol laid out the formula: sharp movement, constant angle changes, precision distance control, and switching stances mid-fight. That's the only way, Bivol says, to keep Canelo guessing and off balance. Because if Crawford stands still, even for a second, it could all come crashing down with one shot.
Crawford, Canelo, who you got? Crawford, Canelo? I still say Canelo. I got Canelo too. I still say Canelo. Ring IQ, I believe that Crawford has a bit more. Yeah. However, it's just the size difference. I think that where Crawford is lacking is that he should try to test the waters, even with somebody at that weight class before facing Canelo.
On the other side of the ring, Teofimo Lopez wasn't as optimistic. For Lopez, this fight is less about skill and more about physics. He respects Crawford's talent, even admits Bud might edge Canelo in ring IQ. But to him, the size gap is real and it matters. You don't just jump into the deep end, Lopez warned. You gotta test the waters first. His point: if Bud wants to face Canelo, he should take on a true 168-pounder first, someone like David Benavidez or Caleb Plant, before diving into a mega fight with the division's top predator.
It's a stylistic matchup, you know, and Williams Cole don't fight nothing like Terence Crawford. So we're not going to see the same type of fight come September. I think we're going to see a great fight. You know, you may think about it for a second and say, oh, well, there's weight classes for a reason, right? But Crawford's a special guy, you know what I'm saying? And so I think it's going to be a great fight. And I'm just a fan on that one. You know, just want to see a good fight, and I think it will be.
Then came Caleb Plant, a man who's shared the ring with Canelo and seen that power up close. But instead of doubling down on the Canelo is a beast narrative, Plant offered a different take. Canelo isn't what he used to be. In recent fights, Plant says, Canelo has looked slower, less sharp, not washed, but no longer peaking. And that, he believes, is what makes a fight with Crawford so intriguing. Crawford brings tools that Canelo's recent opponents haven't. Speed, lateral movement, unpredictability. Plant even noted that Canelo openly dislikes fighting movers. He prefers guys who stand and bang, Plant said. That's not Crawford. As for Bud himself, he's had enough of the size talk. Crawford says people assume Canelo is the naturally bigger man, but they're not paying attention. Even for Canelo, 168 is a big weight class, Crawford explained. He's usually the smaller guy in his division, just like I've been. He doubled down by pointing to Usyk versus Fury, using it as proof that size doesn't always dictate the winner. That fight reminded the world that strategy, skill, and mental toughness can sometimes overpower pure size, and Bud wants the world to see he's built in that same mold. Love him or doubt him, Crawford's making his case. But there's one thing everyone agrees on. By now, it's not just a question of will they fight, it's a question of what's really at stake if they do. Because, make no mistake, Crawford versus Canelo wouldn't just be a blockbuster matchup between two elite champions. It would be a generational collision, a historic crossroads between boxing brilliance and brute legacy. This isn't just a fight about belts, it's a fight about what defines greatness. Crawford, the technician, has made a career out of solving fighters like puzzles, breaking them down round by round, dismantling them with calm calculation. Canelo, on the other hand, has become a symbol of dominance. A fighter who learned from his lone loss and transformed into a machine with patience, timing, and punishing power.
Floyd, Bivol, where's the mistakes? You gotta be, you gotta get that 10 out of 10. You don't make mistakes, It's like Tiger Woods, you don't miss putts, 20 feet out don't matter. You gotta be sharp up against Canelo. Okay. I remember Canelo talking about not wanting to fight Crawford because it just reminded him.
This matchup isn't about who's faster or stronger. It's about whose legacy will be shattered and whose will be sealed in stone. Because no matter which side you're on, one thing is undeniable. When two men with this much pride, skill, and history step into the ring, it's not a boxing match, it's war. While fans debate fantasy outcomes and pundits break down statistics, the question that hangs over everything like a loaded glove is this: can Terence Crawford really survive at 168? Keith Thurman doesn't think it's that simple. He didn't say Crawford can't win, but he laid it out plainly. There's no room for mistakes with Canelo. He's seen what happens when even the most skilled fighters hesitate for a split second. Against Canelo, Thurman warned, small mistakes turn into big consequences. He compared it to playing Tiger Woods in his prime. If you're not flawless, you don't stand a chance. And here's the twist. Canelo wasn't always this complete. There was a time when he was flat-footed, one-dimensional, and easily read, until Floyd Mayweather exposed him. But instead of collapsing, Canelo evolved. He became Canelo 2.0.
When they went back to the drawing board, they didn't go back to the drawing board as a stubborn mule. They said, hey, what can we learn? Maybe there's something to this evasiveness. And just ever since then, it's been Canelo 2.0. And I think we've all enjoyed Canelo 2.0.
A fighter who could not only pressure but adapt. Since then, he's taken everything he learned from that loss and used it to school the next generation. The question is, will Crawford be the next to get schooled or the first to outsmart the new Canelo? And here's where the danger spikes. Unlike everyone else Canelo has faced at 168, Crawford has never fought there. He's never taken a punch from someone who walks around at 180 plus. He's never been trapped in a corner by a man whose punches end careers. This wouldn't be just another climb in weight, and it would be a leap into the unknown. If Crawford pulls it off, it's genius, legendary, pound-for-pound supremacy beyond debate. But if he fails, it might not just be a loss. It could be the moment that derails everything he's built. So now the gloves are off, and all the questions are on the table. Is Terence Crawford reaching for greatness? Or is he just chasing a payday? Is Canelo still the king? Or is Bud about to steal the crown? Is this a fight that defines a generation? Or one that ends a legacy? You decide. Drop your predictions in the comments. Who walks out with their name etched in history? And who walks out with regret? Alright guys, for the best updates on boxing news, moments, events, and actions, subscribe to Knockout Updates and turn on notifications to never miss out on quality content, and check out our other videos. Until next time, peace out.